Good morning, YouTube. How y'all doing out there? Missed last week. Life happened, and it was week 12 of the fall semester. So, with the combination of a little bit of Thanksgiving and burnout, I needed, and then having to deal with stuff at my house. Things definitely need to be maintained. And yeah, you need to have people come over and service your oil burner and all good, fun stuff like that. So you need to plan for those things. And I only have those 2 days a week. And it was the Thanksgiving break. So I'm like, okay, let's just do all this today. Welcome, Phoenix. I appreciate you joining me here. And all right, so what's today all about? Today is about the age old question for like a lot of artists who do figure drawing. Should I draw with line or should I draw with tone? Some teachers have specific needs. They don't want you to use any tone whatsoever, they just want you to draw with line. And I'm pro tone and I'm pro line. I like to do both. However, my little journey here started as a painter. And I really started to draw when I was much younger, and I drew like a painter, which means I welcome Joseph. Good morning. Doing good, doing good. I drew like a painter because I use big blocks of tone. Like I saw things in shapes. So if I was drawing a still life, I would see the shape of the shadow on the vase. If I was drawing, say, a landscape, I would see the shape of the dark tree, and hence I would shade that value. And I really wouldn't use outlines. And then, lo and behold, I had a student. Welcome, Paul. We're going to get the drawing here in about a minute. I had this student in my first semester of teaching life drawing. My goodness gracious, I think that was 1998. It was a continuing ed class at the School of Visual Arts. It was on Saturday morning from 10 to 1. And I had a student, and they didn't use tone. And I was like, okay. And they were drawing great with line. And I'm like, what the hell is this all about? Like, how is this person doing this? And I wasn't ready to switch from tone to line just yet. But that's the joy of being a teacher, especially at the School of Visual Arts and both online. You discover so many interesting people drawing in so many different ways. So, just cutting, good morning, Bob. Welcome. I had a good Thanksgiving, and I hope you did too. Yeah, so the moral of the story is I don't think that one is better than the other. I think they're both good. And ultimately, you want to combine the two, and you want to draw with line and tone combined. However, for today's class, what we're going to do is we're going to isolate the two. And I want you to get out of your comfort zone and see which one is going to work best for you. Okay, so I in the wintertime, I don't know what my problem is. It just like switches like in November. I just get like these dry hands, and they drive me cuckoo because if I don't put like lotion on my hands, I look like, well, who do I look like? I guess I don't know, some weird creature. And so, but I hate putting lotion on my hands because then I can't hold the pencil. So it's like a catch 22. I hate this. Okay, too much personal information. There you go. All right, let's switch. And so this looks like it's a nude, but it's not a full nude. I blurred out the privates. And so YouTube, I've blurred out the private parts. And so, yes. All right, so we're going to put our model up, and it's kind of looks nude, but it's not fully nude. So let's go here to tone. Awesome sauce. Now, what I would like to do in this class, so in this pose, I just bought this new photo pack from Graphit Studio. They had a Black Friday sale. I'm like, let me take advantage of it. And I do a love-hate with my students, meaning I ask them what they love about my class and what they hate about my class. And some people asked that I draw more dynamic poses, and I agree. Like, I can get stuck in a rut drawing the same traditional poses. So I like this photo pack because there were some crazy poses in it. And this one's not crazy, but it's certainly not standing straight up and down. And so this is the one that we're going to do with tone. And then this is the one that we are going to do with line. Okay. And I'm really looking forward to both of them. And yeah. Okay. So back to tone. So now, before we do anything, The last time I picked up a pencil to draw was last Wednesday. So I most definitely need to just do some warm up. Now, all right, so listen to me, everybody on YouTube. And of course, we just broke the pencil. Isn't that lovely? That's perfect. Okay, I've got two sharpened. Hopefully they don't break. Ooh, jeez. Okay, gee whiz. It's YouTube. It's live. Shit's gonna happen, people. Okay, so I am doing this ellipse. This ellipse is ginormously important. And I'm not lifting my pencil off the paper. This is how I like to warm up. Now, for curiosity, what am I drawing today with? I am using the Prismacolor Col-Erase Green. Why am I using a green pencil? Because it's just about the same as the Col-Erase Black. They do not sell the Col-Erase Black individually anymore. So green is a pretty cool color, which I like, and it's the same value as the black, pretty much. So now I'm just going to do some quick circles. I'm trying to also press down hard and get my darkest dark. And this is very, very valuable for you to do when you're warming up. If you've been with me here on YouTube, you know I love to do this, okay? And I'm going to press down hard. This is also getting my fingers warmed up. And then going light is easy. Like, this is easy for me. I can do this all day long. For some of you, this is not easy. So you should practice. Good morning, Leah. Angelia, welcome. Practice doing the light line as light as you could get, and practice doing the heavy line. I would consider this a middle tone line. Now, the other thing, this is just a scrap piece of paper that I have here, so time out. I'm just going to lift it up a little bit because I forget when I draw on YouTube, the piece of paper is like so high, so my head isn't in the frame here. So another thing, do you know why Col-Erase? I wish I knew. I should really contact that company. Not that I'm anyone special. They'll probably wouldn't even respond to me, but I should contact them and see if I get a response. Now, since we're going to be drawing, and ask them, why did you do this? And why are you making green available and blue, and red? It's so weird, that they're choosing those colors. I still like those colors, and my students draw with those colors, and they're awesome. So we did our ellipse, we did some ovals, we did some light and some dark line. So now let's just practice shading before we get to our model there on the left. And this is how I'm going to start the first drawing. I'm just going to start with shading. We could call this line, and we can call this tone. Okay. So yes, and now let's do another box. It doesn't need to be big, and I'm going to press down a little bit harder. Okay. Now, I'm trying to be solid. I'm not going super dark because the Col-Erase doesn't lend itself to being really dark really quickly. Now, if I had a higher IQ, I wouldn't use this pencil today. I would use a softer pencil for the tone. But I want to use it because I'm a stubborn mule and I just like this pencil. Okay, and so the last thing that we can do here today is we can just do a gradation. Soft, light, almost non-existent tone like that. So that's enough of the warm-up. I think that's pretty good. And all right. So now I'm going to just get a little sip of my keto coffee here. One moment. And we're going to start drawing, people. So thank you, all 19 of you who joined the live stream. If you're with me here today and you're watching and you're going to draw along, please give the video a thumbs up. And if you are not subscribed, I would ask you to subscribe to the channel. And if I should be so bold to ask you to click on the bell for notifications for when we do go live, so you don't miss this, because I really enjoy doing these live streams. Now, okay, so look. This is no bueno. I need to zoom out. I'm really zoomed in because our last tutorial was the Lady Agnew, John Singer Sargent. So this is only 6 inches tall. That's too small. So I want to zoom out. Oop, no, not zoom in, Matt. Zoom out. Do I need to move my paper? So how big is that? That's about 8 inches. I think we'll start with 8 inches, and I'll play with it a little bit. So, all right, let's get to drawing, people. Let's get to drawing. So the first thing that I like to do, and let me just get comfortable here for a moment. So the first thing that I really like to do when I draw the figure on a limited size sheet of paper, I think this is 12 by 16, is if I'm going to start with the model's shoulder, upper back area. Oh, it would be nice if I had the reference out. Goodness gracious. And it would be nice if I made it a little bigger. Not too big because I'm probably going to do side size. So right about here is where I might want to start the whatchamacallit, the upper back, the shoulders. So now if I start there, that would be like my torso length. Do I have enough room for that? That would be my leg length. Do I have enough room? Yeah, I can zoom in, zoom out. But just a rough guesstimation. Okay, so now the first drawing, this drawing, starting like a painter, drawing with tone. So I'm going to draw our model's upper back up into the black pole, which is a trident. Okay, so I'm going to do something like that, and this is where the model's back touches the arm. That would be the top of the shoulder. And just for context, I'm going to shade, excuse me, my God. I'm going to shade our model's hair and shade our model's hair. Okay, now I've got that. Now I'm going to get the pole, the trident pole. And I'm looking at the distance from the trident pole to the top of the shoulder. So I'm not matching the values. Now, when you draw like a painter with your pencil and we're blocked, this is called blocking in tone. What you want to do is you want to start off first a little bit more lightly. So we've got a little angle over here behind the trident. And could you say that's a line? Well, maybe you could. I don't know. I don't want to be too strict here. But I'm coming on down. And in essence, everybody on YouTube, and thank you so much for joining me here today, I am just blocking in shadow shapes. And in essence, what I'm doing here is scribbling. So the key to drawing with tone and the key to being a painter is to be able to match values and just kind of block in big chunks of value. Okay. Now, do you see how the model's butt is being pushed up by that? I think I'm just going to call it it's a peg in a peg pole or something like that. I'm going to droop the butt. Okay, almost as if the model is floating. I don't want to push it up like that. It's going to look weird. Now, if you want to try something different and push it up and maybe pretend and be creative that the model is kind of almost sitting on a branch in a tree or on a swing, you could do something creative. I'll leave that up to you, but I'm going to drop the butt with gravity. Okay, so look at how small that is. I apologize, YouTube. We're going to zoom in now, okay? So I just wanted to get my bearings, and we're not too long into the drawing, so don't get too mad at me just too soon here. I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to adjust my sheet of paper, and then we'll get cruising here, and we'll really make this drawing happen. Oh, my God. Did I really? I did. I drew on my scrap piece of paper. I drew on my scrap piece of paper below. This was supposed to be the paper that blocked my computer screen from showing through, so I'm going to take another sheet and put it behind there. I really am a big believer in if you're going to take paper out of your drawing pad, to stack your paper, like put paper behind paper. It acts like a cushion. And it just has a little bounce to it, and I enjoy that. I think it's pretty cool, and I recommend that you do that. So it just is softer on the pencil. Okay. Now, you're gonna just be patient with me. You're gonna be patient with me. Yeah, I would need to lip this thing. I'm sorry, my bad. Okay, we're almost there, people. We're almost there. Um, Okie dokie. So let's lift this. I'm not too concerned with our model's arm just yet. I am not too concerned with our model's arm just yet. The her right arm that's going high up. Okay, so first, this is how we start. Now, I could get this arm, just the shadow side of her left arm, to the elbow, and then go down the forearm. I'm not outlining, everybody on YouTube. Now, this hand is pretty below the butt. Now, I'm not saying I drew the butt accurately nor the length of the torso accurately, so I don't want to judge too much just yet. Now, I am going to hint at the other side of our model's hip. So this technically is the hip area, the pelvis. And so I'm looking at the edge of our model's hip to the other edge of the hip. This would be the glute. Now, what I'm going to do here, since this leg is all light, so Matt, how do you deal with this leg? It's all light. Well, we have two ways to go about it. There's like a little light tone over here, and or we can do a background tone over here, what is called a reverse gradation. I think I'm going to do the reverse gradation. Now, look, there's no shadow on that leg. There's no shadow on that leg. And I'm going to use a line. I'm going to use a line just to show you. Okay, but before I do that, I want to make sure that I don't get too wonky with my measurements. So the height from here to here, I'm remembering that I'm lowering the butt. This is tonal. Tonal. Now I can get this triangle of background tone. Triangle of background tone. And I'm also, so I think what I need to do is let me just suggest, and I'm going to recommend that you just suggest the model's left upper leg with the cast shadow that the cast torso is casting on it. And I am using an angle line. I am. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there for now. Okay, just because I don't want to zoom out just yet. Now, I think it would be really good for you to draw both legs together. These legs are actually kind of easy to draw if you're not so concerned with being an absolutist with just tone and no line. My recommendation is that you would do like a line of action over here. That's best. You can also connect the legs together with a line of action. That comes down like that. And that's really the easier way to do this. I still want to go with the isolating of the techniques here today. Okie dokie. Let me just get a little swig of coffee while it's semi-lukewarm here. Okay. So now, as a painter would do, they would start over again at the top. Okay. So now I've got to concern myself with over smudging this. I don't want to smudge this too much. So I'm going to start up again at the model's trapezius, but now this time I'm going to add that dark in the spine area. So there's like a little dark over here. And we've got our spinal column, our vertebrae that's coming down. And there's the sacrospinalis muscles, which just is a fancy way of saying two tall cylindrical muscles that go from your sacrum to your back of your skull, your cervical vertebrae. So I'm going to now get the center of our model's butt. And perhaps I could, I'm not copying what I see there. I'm going to droop the butt. Okay, cool. So I've got that now, and now I'm going to get a little bit of the dark where the arm touches the body. And I'm going to also draw this angle down, and I'm going to come on in and get that deltoid. Got to make sure that I stay on camera here, and that arm is going up. So now, but Matt, how do you do the chest, breast? There's no values there. Well, I'm gonna do the angles. I'm gonna do the angles, and one could say I'm outlining right now, but um, you could not outline, and you can just do background tone. Now, I'm not gonna include the pole, the peg pole, the white peg pole. I'm omitting that from my drawing. So this is our model's rib cage, and then the abs, lower abs, and yeah, people call this the stomach, but we're just going to call it lower abs for today's class, and then our hip, and then this leg that is jutting out. Now, could I put tone here and ignore the peg pole? Yes, I could, and I'm going to do that because I want to stay true to the lesson. Okay, so questions. So this is drawn with tone. This is drawn with tone. Now, this is good if you like to do kind of academic, realistic tonal drawings. This is good if you like to paint with oil paint or acrylic or any type of paint. Oil paint, in my opinion, is the superior medium. So yeah, now this is how you would start to block in with paint. And I really feel those of you who, like, there's a couple members of my website, Nancy's one of them, really wants to get more into oil painting. And this, if you don't have time to take out all the paints and set up your palette and start pre-mixing everything, this is a quick way to practice painting. Okay, so now I also have a very dull pencil. So now look, I don't like where I have this leg. So let's use, she's pretty thin, this model. Okay. Do I need to match it perfectly today? I don't. Okay, so this is not a connector. So this hip pelvis bone, iliac crest area, I kind of want to force connect it to the upper leg, but I don't see that happening. I'm going to force it anyways, and then I'm going to move the upper leg, that shadow, over a little bit. Now, again, people, this is just a really good exercise, regardless of whether or not you like to draw with tone or line. I think this is something that you should practice. And, this is also, we do gesture drawing in my life drawing class. We do a lot of things in my life drawing class. Gesture drawing is a big thing. And once I introduce this to the students, this really, really helps them to draw gesture, like 1 minute, 2 minute gesture poses faster. Okay. And it takes a lot of the pressure off of having to do a 2 minute gesture drawing with like perfect outlines. And the students like this technique. They really, really do. And it helps them, believe it or not, to actually draw faster. Matt, you're drawing with an outline. I am. I could, just say there's tone. Boom. Okay. So now where is this foot? See, this is what happens when you don't draw for a week almost. You lose your proportions. So now I'm going to get the bottom of the model's foot with the tone. And what are proportions? They're basically your eyes. I'm going to tilt that. And I'm going to shorten this upper leg. And I'm going to raise the heel. Okay, cool. And so, you know what? I should have drew the butt the way that it was before because the butt is messing me up. Okay, so no, it's not. Let's just keep going and let's not be perfect with it. So now let me zoom out so you can see the whole thing. Okay, and I'm going to resharpen my pencil, even though drawing with a duller pencil is a little bit better for this exercise. So we've got this leg. There's like this dark over here behind the peg. And then this, look at the distance from this leg to the bottom of the butt. We don't want, I'd rather go longer with the legs all day long. I'd rather go longer. So I did a line there. But it's okay. I don't like being an absolutist where it absolutely only like 100% has to be tone. As a teacher, okay, where is this foot? I'm going a little big with it. Okay, and I gotta pull this back up. As a teacher, I think it's valuable to isolate techniques for students to show them. But you can also do that to a fault. And you start to become a slave to the technique and you don't have fun anymore. And that's just no good. You don't want to become a slave to the technique, and that's going to be the basis of your style. Some drawing technique that some teacher taught you. I don't think that's good. I think you've got to practice these techniques in isolation, yes, and then alter what you learn, and don't be so adherent to that technique. Does this eraser work? I should have tested it first. Yeah, it worked very good. Okay, so now we've got this heel and this toe bank there. Okay. So something feels wonky, but that's okay. We're going to start over again and go through it again. And the beautiful thing about working in middle tone is that if you make a mistake, it's very easy to erase. Hi, Bison Berries. Welcome to the live stream today. Let me know what you think of this tone technique thing that we're doing here. Okay, so okay, hold on one moment. I've got a lot of electrolytes in the bottom of my coffee cup, and hold on. Okay, so what do we have here on the screen? In 28 minutes, so I've been talking a lot. I'm going to say this is a 20-minute drawing. I talked a lot in the beginning. We warmed up. This might actually be like 18-minute drawing or something like that. And so in roughly 20 minutes, doesn't look pretty. The legs and the feet, I need to work on those. But in 20 minutes, we have what is called an impressionistic painterly style drawing. So now what our job is to do is to refine edges and match some more values. And let's see how we do with that. Okay, let's go through it again. And so I'm going to start. I definitely drew the head a little too big there. So I'm trying not to smudge this. I'm going to just use this. Hold on now. I need to cut a scrap piece of paper to put over the right knee so I don't smudge that. Cool. Got that right there. Okay, that's not blocking too much of the drawing. That's not bad. Sweet. Okie dokie. Now, if you're like me and you haven't drawn in a while and you're struggling a little bit, get up, stand up, look out the window, reset your eyes, and then kind of come back and start all over again. Okay. I should do that too, but I don't want to lose y'all. So I'm going to keep drawing so I don't, talk too much and try to be too worried about perfection here. It's not about perfection. It's just about trying to learn a new technique. In my particular case, it's about teaching this technique and practicing it myself because, yeah, constantly have to practice. It doesn't matter how many years you've been doing something. A lot of this is touch-based, so you could lose your touch in a heartbeat if you don't practice all the time. So I'm just kind of blocking in that hair shape. The head is not white paper, so I'm just being still loose and still painterly. Okay, and this is the shoulder into the scapula. And now we've got a little bit of some muscles between the spine and the scapula that are rounding. Bison berries. One of these days, I'm going to make it up to your school and do a sketchbook tour with you. Absolutely, that would be fun. What school do you go to? Thank you for that. I really appreciate your kind words. Yeah, I got another sketchbook. I really should maybe post it later in the week. I don't know how I'm going to do that with teaching and everything, but um, so now we want to get rid of white paper over here, people. Get rid of the white paper. This is the cast shadow now that the arm is casting on the upper back next to the pole, next to the trident. Oh, I'm in Canada at Sinclair College. All right, sweet. What part of Canada? Toronto, Montreal? Um, a lot of good artists up in Canada. Okay, so now I'm pressing down a little bit harder on the pole, the trident pole. Um, okay, just for a little bit of context. And now I'm back to the spinal area. Ontario. Wow, Windsor sounds so cool. That must be is it? This must be freezing up there. Ah, yes, the Senators. Okay. So now I'm going a little darker with my values. Okay, so over here in the crooks of the lower back, there's an indent from the lumbar spine there, and then there's a reflected light on the left side, on the left of the spine. I don't know if I'm gonna take the time to do that in today's class because technically we really need to do two drawings here. Oh gosh, yeah, it must be freezing. Um, I'm just gonna resharpen this pencil. I think this pencil sharpener is getting a little dull. Um, okay, it was freezing here on Long Island in New York last night for sure. So I'm establishing that that's the bottom of our model's butt. And this is pretty light over here. So I could do the modeling factors where this goes into the dimple of the side of the sacrum, side of the iliac crest, posterior. And then we've got like a little bit of um, some modeling factors, my dark halftone right there. And this is our line that separates, and I'm curving the butt. I'm not matching what I see on the photo in case you joined us late. And so I'm going to curve around the oval of the butt, the glutes, and I'm going to say that gravity is pulling the model's butt downward. Did I use a line there? I did. I did. But so I'm going to say in the end, this would probably be like 80-20, 80% tonal and 20% line. So now I'm just going to go a little bit lighter with my pencil strokes to indicate the bottom of the rib cage there. Turn this around. This is just a separation between gluteus medius and gluteus max. Still want to keep our lights light. It was funny. I've been teaching anatomy in class to my students. So we'll draw a body part, and I draw on my iPad, and then they copy what I'm doing, and they draw it in their sketchbook. And we do lots of stretches in class because it's a 6-hour class, and they're sitting down on these wooden drawing horses. So I teach them stretches for their shoulders and for their body. I can't do full stretch stuff. It's mainly for their shoulders. And then I talk to them about sleep, and I talk to my younger students about food and brain food, not food for running a marathon. And they're always like, "You should have been a doctor, Matt." And I love all this stuff, especially for the younger students when they're away from home for the first time, and like they just let their health go down the toilet, and it's terrible. So yeah, I love all this sort of stuff, helping these younger students with their health so they can function better when they're have this severe workload. Okay, so I'm doing some tone on the outside of the leg. So this is kind of interesting. Now, okay, good morning, Matt. It's been years since I've drawn with your classes. I've been very busy as a caricature artist. Mike, welcome. I remember your name, Mike. I appreciate you joining us. Wow, that's very, very cool that you're doing caricatures. That's so very hard. The closest I come to caricatures is in class. I think it was actually last week. We were doing facial expressions, and I'm like, okay, if you want, you draw the model, and then I want you to change their facial expression. And we were doing it primarily with eyebrows. But we were doing how to draw Batman 99, welcome. We were basically doing how to draw somebody laughing with teeth, which throws a lot of people off. We were also doing sad. We were doing angry. Angry's easy. So getting back to the technique here, this could be a way that you practice drawing. It could be a way that you, oh, I see what's going on here. These pencils, wow, that just broke on me. Very disappointed in Prismacolor. Okay, so this upper leg needs to be thicker at the knee joint. That's what. Ooh, here comes the rain. It's in the 40s, so we're very lucky that we're not getting snow. This eraser is cool. Okay, it's working. So that leg just needed to be thicker, and I'm using a line there, but I'm going to try to get it with a little bit of tone. You don't want your knees to be pointy, and I need to extend the tone out away from the knee, so it looks strange if the tone hugs the body. Like, so you need to feather the tone away. Bison berries. So I don't have a Discord server because I critique a lot of people's artwork, and unfortunately, I only critique paying members of my website. So the members of DTO, I do a video critique of their artwork when they upload it. Not everyone takes advantage of that part of the website. A small percentage do. So they'll upload their artwork to my gallery, which I call the critique gallery. I've been doing this now for years, and I critique their artwork every single Monday. And then I'm also occasionally I do coaching with individual artists, and then I have my SVA students. So I'm constantly critiquing people's artwork. So I don't really critique people who send me their stuff or put it on a server randomly, because then my entire life would be constantly critiquing artwork. It would never end, because I have even some of my undergraduate students who I don't have anymore as a student enrolled in my class because they're in a different level now. They're in third year. And they still send me artwork, and they're like, "Can you look at my backgrounds from my film?" And I'm like, "Oh God, I've got so much going on." But I connected so much to that student. It's hard for me to say no. I can't. Um, so yeah, it's tough. Like it's tough. So yeah, I don't want to sit here and start promoting anything. So yeah, just that's what I do, and the coaching thing is a very valuable tool to get lots of feedback in a short period of time, and occasionally subscribing to my website for a month for $20, and then getting a critique a week for 4 weeks in a row for $20. Oh my God, that is completely worth it. And that's all I'll say on that. Okay, so I'm gonna make this foot like a little bit longer. I think I like it longer. I do really enjoy working like this in tone. Since I haven't drawn in a week, what usually takes me a few minutes is taking me many minutes. And so, yeah, I'm just a buffoon for not warming up, but I digress. So I'm going to lift this up a little bit, gesture down. And so in me dropping the butt, this leg becomes shorter. So I was desperately trying to keep it longer because I like longer legs, and I think shorter legs don't look as good. Um, yeah, no pressure, no pressure. It it is what it is. I mean, that is one of I try to isolate my skills because you have to do that as an artist. Like you really have to know what you offer to your clients. Okay, so if you're an illustrator, what is the skill that you offer to your clients? If you're an animator, what part of the animation process do you do, and what skill do you offer to your clients? So, one of the skills that I offer to all of my students is being able to analyze and quickly critique their artwork in a very productive, confident building sort of way. That is one of my main skills. There are some teachers who are very, very good at critiquing students' artwork, but they don't build confidence. And so when you have a younger 18-year-old student, you don't want to rip them apart. When you critique their artwork, you have to build confidence. And so, yeah, that's one of my main skills is critiquing people's artwork quickly and seeing what they need to work on quickly in order to not waste time and improve faster, thus have more fun. Okay, so all right, how long have we been working on this drawing? For about the live stream, we're in it for 45 minutes, just about. Awesome. Um, yeah, 45 minutes. And let's say out of that 45 minutes, we've been drawing for 35 minutes. So this is a 35-minute. It's okay. uh, 35 minutes to get this tonal rough. We're going to call it rough tonal sketch. Okay. Now, what I want to do is just play with a little bit more background tone here. This is kind of. I feel as though I'm wasting your time with me doing the background tone, but I want to show you that use the background tone and yeah, just make it gestural. I don't like how this is too dark here, so I'm going to erase some of that. Ugh, ugh, I don't like the vibe of this eraser. Okay, time out. Time out. Time out. Where's my brush? 1 second. Let's work a little bit up top at the breast area, chest area. Just going to make this breast chest area a little less thick. So look at my pencil stroke direction. I'm scribbling. So I'm scribbling this way on a diagonal. I'm scribbling up and down, diagonal. I don't like cross hatching, but it almost looks like I'm cross hatching. Tonal drawing, reverse gradation. And we can lose the edge of the feet. They don't need to be so pronounced. We could also silhouette this foot. So the duller your pencil, actually, the better. I'm not going to draw this arm because I'm going to have to zoom out so much that it's going to be silly. So the trident pole should connect with that hand. So how about we do this drawing until, say, like 11, and then we'll do our line drawing, okay? Yes, let's do that. Let's do that. I'm somewhat happy with this. Now, what this needs is hours of drawing time, right? Which, unfortunately, we don't have here on YouTube, but like what would take this to the next level is refinement of edges, matching of values, curving of the shading lines to show more three-dimensional form, many things. Just lots of refinement. This is more roughly done impressionistically. So I just said the same thing with multiple words. Impressionistic, rough. Okay. Now, let's see. Let's just see if we can't get this arm a little bit better. I'm going to go thicker with that shape. Thicker with the shadow shape on our model's forearm. Technically, the pole needed to be more tilted, but I'm going to improvise and tilt that arm inward. And yep, just going to indicate that hand right there. So now, if I wanted to, I could start all over again. Okay. So again, everybody here on YouTube, this is just this is what would be the beginnings of working with tone and drawing in a soft manner with no outlines. And so the question is, do you like this style? Is this something that helps you to draw quickly? Is this easier for you to draw this way? Do you like to paint digitally or traditionally? And is this something that works for you way more than outlining? Yeah. And then the other question that you could ask yourself when you're watching me draw here and drawing along with me is, what do you usually gravitate towards when you're looking at people's art on Instagram and YouTube and all that? Do you like more tonal work, or do you gravitate more towards linear stuff? And so that would also determine whether or not this is something that's going to work for you. So this here, if I can show you exactly on my scrap piece of paper. So let's just over here, is this on the screen? Yeah, okay. So if this is the circle for the pelvis, yeah, it's a no outline approach. You're just matching values through putting down massive blocks of shapes of values. So, okay, this is our pelvis. I'm going to do a disc and a disc. Okay, so this is your sacrum. It's the triangular bone at the bottom of your spine that some people call this like your tailbone. And if you've ever fallen off your skateboard when you were a young kid and you've landed on your tailbone, which is called your coccyx, this. And then right over here is your posterior part of, is that on the screen? Yes. Posterior part of your pelvis. And this would be a sit bone. I'm doing this roughly. Sit bone. This is where your femur hip socket is. So your femur comes out. I'm very rough with this right now, but in essence, where the sacrum and these two iliums posterior touch, there's a dimple here, right here. So this is that little dimple where kind of, and then that would be the center core of your spine. And so what you're getting here are muscles that are going up the center on either side of your spine that are cylindrical, right? And so those are the two dimples there and there, okay? So that's why we do anatomy, because if you don't study anatomy and you draw the figure, then you're just guessing, what is that bump? What is that value? Why is there a shadow there? Platsky, welcome. Pseudo7, welcome. Okay, so we've got 8 more minutes with this little drawing here. So, all right, time out. I need to just get a little water. And then, oops, as I bang my glasses, I hope I didn't. These, you know how old these glasses are? I don't even want to tell you. They're the perfect distance for, oh my God, that freaking hurt. Okay, time out. I hope I didn't scratch them. No, we're good. We're good. I need all the help I can get. I can't be scratching my glasses. Then my eyes are really going to suck. Okay. So Batman 99, how does one study anatomy? So, okay. This is how you study anatomy. You get a pose like this, okay? And oh my God, the pencil broke again. Gee whiz. Okay. Colorase. This is not a good advertisement for Colorase. Just sharpening the pencil. So on this particular pose, the model's shoulders are like that, then the upper back, and then the breast area. So you say, okay, I'm going to use this to help me find where that scapula is. So I'm going to say that perhaps that would be my scapula. That's the acromion of the scapula. So you try your very best to draw, and this would be the spine. You try your very best to draw isolated bones first. That's how I would study it. Yeah, Bob, all day long. So if you, Bob, if you look at my last live stream, this one, let me just grab it off the wall here. I got 14 million pieces of tape on this. Oops. Almost there. Almost there. I don't want to rip this. So this is tonal. This little Capri girl from John Singer Sargent. Watch, if you want, watch that video. It's the same thing. It's really the same thing of what we're doing here today, right? Okay, so 5 more minutes on this one. I'm doing way too much talking. I got to draw a little bit more here. I'm wasting a lot of time. Not drawing. Oh God. Okay, but it's all good. These are really, really fabulous questions. Keep them coming. Um, yeah, keep them coming. These are really good questions. Thank you so much. That's why I like doing the live. I'm really, really trying to. Oh, and that hip is tilted down, so that dimple there would be lower. I'm really contemplating. I'm thinking out loud, which I shouldn't do that. No, I'm not going to think out loud on a YouTube live stream. That's not good. Okay, let me keep that thought to myself. But I really love teaching live more so than doing recorded lessons. I don't enjoy recorded lessons as much because they're not necessarily interactive. They're interactive after, when people on who are members of my website, drawingtutorialsonline.com, when they post their artwork for a critique, and I draw on top of their drawings and I give them a critique, then it's interactive, but it's not interactive in terms of the teaching part, with the actual lesson of how to do a skill like this, like drawing with tone. That's why I like drawing live so much more than recorded lessons. Plus, I've been doing recorded lessons since 2006, and when you do something that long, it gets stale after a while. Okay, Bob, you got it. Okay, so now you see what I'm doing here as we close out this first drawing in today's live stream. Um, I'm now starting to refine some of the edges, and this is where it's okay to use some line. I would encourage you to use line um, and tone together, but we're just trying to isolate today. Now, the next drawing is going to seem weird when we do it with tone, and this knee is just this knee. I'm so good at drawing knees, but today, this knee got the better of me. It kneed me right in the face. Absolutely, it did. It kicked my butt. I'm not going to give up on it. So there's the soleus muscle, which is what I'm drawing right now with an outline. And that's an extensor. Yes, I'm using a line there. I hate this leg, so I'm trying to clean it up. So that's where you start to do the line on top of the tone, and it looks magnificent. Okay. Achilles tendon. Okay. I think we're going to do a new one because I don't want to bore you with me tinkering, because now the rest of this drawing for me would be tinkering and having a wider value range. So that means I'm going to put in more dark darks and try to balance the drawing out. Now, really, what you would start to contemplate as you progress with this type of drawing is you would contemplate, where do I want my hard edges? Where do I want a lost edge? Where do I want a soft edge? And these are all very valuable things. Okay. All right, so we're going to put this one to bed for now. That was a really, really super fun exercise. Obviously, I would have liked to have gone a little bit further with it. So, yeah, absolutely. Okay, cool. My camera's back now. Good, 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 good. All right, that was a good exercise. So now we're going to move on. We're going to move on from that. And let me put this aside. Bear with me as I switch and get a new sheet of paper. It would be cool if I did these both on one piece of paper, but no. We're just going to go with a new piece of paper here. Okay, just let's tape it down. Good. Awesome. Okie dokie. Now, let's switch poses. Let's go to line. All right. All right. Hold on. I got to get a little drink here. I've been talking forever. And I've been sitting for over an hour, so I really need to stand up. If you could just give me a second to stand up, that would be valuable. Yes, sitting down is the new smoking. Sitting down is the new smoking. All right. I need to get rid of that little space there, so I think I'm going to zoom in a touch. Yep, cool. All right. How we all doing out there, YouTube? Any questions before we get started with the line? And then we'll compare at the end. So what we're trying to do here today is we're trying to help you figure out what works best for you. What works best for you. And then there's a thing with your art called phases, right? You're going to go through phases where you like one technique over the other. I've been there, done that. So you're definitely going to go through phases. I think I'm going to use blue for this one. Yeah, I want to do blue because blue line is very slick. I'm just sharpening this pencil. Let's see if this one breaks. Okay, so that's the top of my paper or top of my video monitor, bottom. Okay, I'm probably going to zoom out. But, ooh, I need to switch my photo reference. Oh, my students are doing an anatomy lesson. Okay. I'm not concerning myself with our model's arms right now. I'm just going to start with our model's hair for now. So line. Now, god damn, that's a very, very long, tall pose. I don't know how I'm going to fit this in. Gosh, I should have started that a little bit taller, but I'm probably not going to draw the whole thing. Let's just draw. I'm overanalyzing. So I'm going to get the back of the hair. There's actually a knife holding the bun. It's like a knife prop. Okay, so we're drawing with line. I'm going around our model's ear. And then the back of the hair goes around the spine. And the spine cervical vertebrae, the neck, comes down. I know that's really small, YouTube. I know that's really small. And now we've got our model's deltoid going into the scapula, 7th cervical vertebrae, the bump on the back of your neck, and then we're going into the upper rib cage, spine, curve. Now I'm going to curve and draw the front of our model's rib cage, not the breast. And where is this bottom of the rib cage in relationship to the model's ear? Front of the lower abs. No tone, just line. Now, 7th cervical vertebrae, spine. That is our model's scapula deltoid area. I'm not quite sure. And then the other side of our model's rib cage / spinal column muscles. The curve of the lower back into our model's butt. Okay, so now I'm going to draw some stuff inside. So this would be a little bit of the oblique. I think I need to get where this underarm is, and gravity is going to pull down the triceps. And now I could draw, oh wow, that breast is much lower. The breast, I'm suggesting right now, I'm not worried about perfection. Rib cage, lower abs, iliac crest, into the gluteus max area. That's the dimple that we just drew on the other pose, and this is our gluteus max. Now the butt is getting bigger because of the camera lens is distorting it a little bit. All right. So we'll just ask the question, people. People of YouTube, what do you like better? And you should be able to tell immediately. Do you like to start tonally? Or do you like to start with line? I'm I Well, maybe another question is do you like I can't believe some people don't like chocolate, so I shouldn't be using chocolate as my like analogy, but do you like dark chocolate or milk chocolate? No, I kind of love them both, so I can't decide. Um, all right. So somebody over in the chat, which do you like better? Line. I I like both. I do. I guess, Paul, my answer, if I'm going to be definitive and not wishy washy and not give my opinion, this is legit what I'm going to say. It's legitimately about the amount of time that I have to draw. So if I'm in the classroom and we've got a model posing and they're doing like 5-minute poses, I'm most likely going to use line. If I'm working with a model and the model's doing a 1-hour pose, I'm going to use tone and line. I'm never going to use one in isolation. So, Paul line, Batman line, Joseph tone. Yeah, a chocolate and the dark chocolate for sure, for sure. Um, okay, so everybody on YouTube, all my friends who are watching here today, and I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day to come and draw along with me and chill out. It's a lot of fun. This model, we're looking up at this model's butt, so it's very pronounced. I think I pronounced it a little bit too much, so I got to kind of rein that back in. I feel like this pencil's going to break. Okay. How's this eraser? It's good. Do I need to be erasing this really? I guess so. Okay. Um, now, yeah, agreed, Phoenix. Agreed. So, where am I? So, do you want me to zoom out and draw all of this? It would be very zoomed out. Um, I'm gonna just stick with this area right now. But if you want me to zoom out, I will. Maybe we'll do that towards the end. So I'm gonna come on in and so now I don't want to give away all of my trade secrets, but I basically do on YouTube. But there's some things that I keep close to the chest, and one of them is line diversity. So let's just say this. Um, don't do the entire drawing with a middle tone line. Try to build up thick, dark line as you go. I'm going to just clean this up. This is a little messy over here. This eraser is working well. It's not destroying the paper, and it's erasing the blue pencil. So I need to draw more inside of the body. So this is our line that separates the light from the shadow. We come up into a rib. That rib is at the bottom of the breast. And then another rib starts to roll in. You don't need to shade this, although we probably will. And then we've got another indication of a rib shadow shape into our iliac crest. I shouldn't have gone so dark with that, but it's kind of fun. And I can do some wrap around. Let me sharpen this pencil. Let's see here. So let's go back up to the shoulder. Couple of lines. So I'm doing line shading. I'm not figuring out this. So that's too wide. From here to here is too wide. Gosh darn it. Okay. This is the... Wow, I think that might be the actual scapula really tilted up like that. I'm going to get the model's ear. Any questions? I think everyone's hungover from the Thanksgiving weekend. I know I was feeling it. Too much food. One second. Can you hear my background music? Because then YouTube's going to flag me and... I'm drawing this model's butt way too big. I'm not doing tone, I'm doing line. Okay, good. Thank you so much, Phoenix. I'm not doing tone, I'm doing line. And I am not doing tone, I am doing line. Thank you, Paul. Now, I kind of want to do tone on this a little bit, but it's such a cool pose. So the idea with this, everybody watching, is to not... I got to zoom in. I can't see what the heck I'm doing here. Try to eliminate all straight lines. If you want to know the secret sauce for drawing the figure, well, one thing is to avoid using straight lines. Straight lines are the devil when it comes to drawing an organic body. Okay? Straight lines make your figure drawings look extremely stiff. Now, I don't like what I'm doing here. This is called concave. So I'm going to really now start to search for some convex. So I'm going to move over this lat muscle, underarm area. I know this is hard information for y'all to see on YouTube because that's very small, and I'm struggling with seeing it myself. Now, I want to do tone, so I'm going to cheat a little bit. I want to do some tone with the ribs over here, and I want to put this side into shadow. So again, not giving ourselves too many hardcore rules where it takes the fun out of it. So for me, I've got to do line and tone. Like line and tone for me is where it's at. So I'm going to do like a little tone now combined with my line, but it's still like a little bit of tone is just a game changer combined with line. So we are doing our very best to keep our shadow shadowy, and our light light. Now I'm drawing a little stiff today, and that's just because I haven't been using the pencil enough. So remember, everybody, drawing is really a touch thing. It's a touch thing. It's also a knowledge thing, but touch is primary. And I don't have my touch today. Things that would normally go a little bit smoother for me, I'm fighting, and it's just taking some extra time to accomplish. Like the way that I'm drawing this is just outrageously time consuming when it should be simpler and easier. But yeah, c'est la vie. Okay, so let me zoom my photo reference back out. And I'm going to raise this up a little bit. Sorry for my arm in the way. And I got to just lift up some pieces of tape here. Any questions? Okay, so let me work on more of the pose. So let's see. Is this, that's the kneecap, but is that where the front of the knee is, or does it need to be over there? I haven't figured that out yet. So if I pull a line down from the breast, which is not drawn 100% accurately, and I try to hold my pencil. Okay, I'm sorry. I just need to move the paper one more time. Okay, so I'm just going to suggest this upper leg is not really connecting with anything that I can connect to. I could connect it to the rib cage. So rib cage, upper leg, lots of muscle, knee area. And hamstring. Back of the knee. Just going to get a little swig of water here. I really want to draw this whole thing, but I'm going to have to zoom out so much. I don't know if it's going to be visually appealing on YouTube if I zoom out more, but because this is a tall pose. I'll get the whole pose, and I think it would be valuable for me to show you some like other things and how I'm going to get the leg. Okay, so let me lift this up. So this upper leg is just so big, and it's not right. So I'm going to just kind of suggest bottom of that model's foot. And so it's this butt, and then it's the quads, lower leg, and then I'm just going to suggest ball of the foot, heel. So I think that that's not bad. It's not perfect, please. It's far from perfect, but it's this rhythm. So we could say rib cage, upper back, lower abs, over here to the butt, over here to the quads, over here to the... So those are my opposite C techniques, which other teachers hate. And I like that they hate it. It's fun. Okay, so big toe. We don't need to outline all of that. That would be silly. So now I'm going to use some line together that's showing a little bit of shadow. I think I've got this leg a little bit too thick. Inside of the knee. Yeah, my line is fighting me today. It's fighting me. But just push through it. If you're not happy with the way that you're drawing today, I'm not trying to put that thought in your head, but if you are struggling a little bit, just fight through it and draw through the struggle. And it's about pencil mileage right now. That's all. God, I can't even see that leg. Timeout. Okay. And maybe kneecap. And let's zoom out for the reference. It's a beautiful thing of putting it on the iPad. You can zoom in and out a little bit sometimes. Now, this model from this point of view with the camera lens down below looking up at is all legs pretty much. The head is very small in relationship to. So this would kind of be 80% line, 20% tone. So we've got the other one was what we drew. Where is it? Oh, God, I already lost it. Okay, there it is. 1 second. This is 80% tone, 20% line. This is 80% line, 20% tone. So which one do you like better? I all day long I'm liking this for shorter drawings. All day long I like this for longer drawings. Now my Zoom class later today, it's at 2:00. For members of Drawing Tutorials Online, we are going to be working with charcoal. I don't really like charcoal in my studio because it's very messy and dusty, but we're going to use it, and I'm going to do more of a tone next to tone, no line. Now, I remember, and I tell the story all the time, of a teacher that I had in second year of college. His name was Daryl Zudek, and Zudek. And Daryl introduced me to the concept of there's no such thing as, there's no line in anything. It's just a tone next to a tone next to a tone. And I couldn't wrap my arms around that when he first taught it, but I was really enamored with Daryl at the time because he was a really good painter, and he was a very solid illustrator. So I looked up to Daryl at the time, and but I completely sort of disagree now after the fact. Yes, things could be tone next to tone, and a lot of teachers teach that. However, there's there's this other thing that Daryl didn't teach, and that thing was style. And your style dictates what you're going to use. Are you just going to use tone? Are you going to do line and tone? Do you believe that there's no such thing as line? That's where style comes into play. And style throws a whole wrench into the mix, so to speak. Oh, I see. There's that little toe right there. And then, like I said, you cannot discount stages of growth. So you could be going through a stage where you're just doing painting, digital painting, traditional painting, and you have a teacher that's saying there's no such thing as line, and you're enamored with that teacher. You really like how they teach, and you're really hooking on to their teaching philosophy like 100%. And so you're going to go through a phase where you're like, yeah, there's no such thing as line, and everything is tone next to tone. And you might do that for 5 years in a row, believe it or not. And then you might have another teacher who does this line technique, and you're like, oh my God, I need to be doing that. That is so cool. I never usually draw a line like this going across the butt. It really chops up the pose, but it's there. So let's keep going. So again, you need to figure out what works best for you at the stage that you're at in your journey of learning how to draw and paint, if painting is a part of your journey. Let me just sharpen this again. The blue is really cool for line. Now, I'm outlining this figure 100%, which I don't believe in, but I'm doing it. It just is a instant stiffener. But this is a fun drawing. It's a tutorial drawing, so it's all good. All right. I'm going to work on this for maybe like 10 more minutes, and then we'll call this one done. Because really, the next evolution for me with this is tone. Is putting tone on it. This is so far away from my head and my eyes right now. This is insane. It's insane. I'm just trying not to get my head in the video. Do we have any questions on YouTube? Is there anything that I can help you with? Yeah, totally. The next evolution in this drawing is more tone. And the longer I work on it, the more I will push the tone, because I really need to get closer to this thing, closer to the reference, closer with my head to the drawing in order to see all of the details, which if I do that, then top of my head's going to be in the video screen, and I don't want that. So yeah, the line in terms of a short line drawing. Now, my favorite part of this is the way that I drew the foot, because I'm not outlining 100%. My line there is a little bit looser. Everything else on the drawing's a little bit more stiff. So I'm going to zoom in now so I can lower the drawing closer to my head. And we'll work on the upper portion a little bit. Good. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in and see if I can't see any additional details. I kind of butchered this thing a little bit, but it's still fun. Okay, so we have this hair that goes up. And over here, there's like a bun on the back. I'm curving around the hair, trying to use just line. Then we have hair that comes down on top of the knife. Yes, that's a knife. And I'm trying to use line and have the hair wrapping around the oval of our model's head. Just resharpening. This I want to do all tone for sure. Oh, I see now. Okay, I got this. That's the deltoid. This is the trapezius. And this is the scapula. Okay. If I'm going to end the drawing, I'm going to end it mid-arm. I don't want to end it at the joint, at the elbow. That would look awkward. Now, I'm also open to suggestions for future lessons here on these live streams. If there's something that you want me to draw for you and we could practice together here on YouTube, just please let me know in the comments of this chat or in the comments of the video once the chat is over. That would be helpful. I'm always looking for new ideas for drawing. It's funny when we're drawing in class and the model has all these tattoos, my students start to draw the tattoos. It's definitely funny. Okay, I need to change this music. I've been listening to the same artist. Okay, library. Okay, back to my photo reference. And where are we? Okay. Use some curved lines to show form. I'm definitely going tonal over here in the shadow, for sure. If we could work out with methods like the Riley approach for figure drawing. Okay, I'll look into that. I've never ever used the Riley approach to figure drawing. Um, I don't even know what it is. Uh, so I'm almost done with this drawing anyways because I'm going to, the evolution now for me is the more time, the more tone. That's really what's going to happen here. I'm going to just turn it from a line drawing into a tonal drawing. For future sessions. Absolutely. Yeah, no, groundwalker. I like that idea because that would get me out of my comfort zone to learn something new. Like I don't know the Riley method. I know the Riley method for painting with certain values and limit and tinted grays and all of that jazz, the Riley method, but not for drawing the figure. So I'm going to move this over. and I'll block the best part of the drawing, the foot, and we'll just do a quick, again, a little comparison. So tonal line. Tonal, 80% tone, 80% line. And even the way that I'm drawing the tone and the shading is a little bit more linear. Over here, the shading is tonal and softer. So again, the point of this is what do you like and what works best for you? And if you look at the bulk of your artwork, what is something that you see as a trend in your drawings? Absolutely. Now, just for fun, over here, I'm trying to think of a pose that I could draw. We should end this live stream right now. Absolutely. So does anybody have any questions? I think that should sum this live stream up today. So it's, again, it's, I'm trying to put these both on the screen here at the same time and not block one of them. So yeah, which one do you like? Which one is best for you? I like both. I like to do line drawings. So for me, the line drawing is limited time drawings, like 5-minute drawings with the model, 10-minute drawings with the model. And then I really would progress on to turning this line drawing into a drawing that also has some of the tonal aspects. And I also feel like when you combine the two, that truly is like the answer, to do both, not to do just one, okay? I could most definitely show you a bunch of my drawings. You can go to my website, matthewarchambeau.com, and you can look at my figure drawings there. It's just a small sample size of the drawings that I've done. But usually, like, if I'm going to start a drawing, I'm always gonna do the torso peanut shape first, combined, absolutely. So if you look at what I'm doing here, I'm using line, right? And I'm using line, and I'm starting to do anatomical landmarks. And I'm also, now I'm completely warmed up, so my line is more flowy and looser. So absolutely. And I'm trying to remember a pose. Yep. And rib cage and stretched out breast. Rib cage. So you see how I'm starting here? I'm starting with line. And how do I want the breasts? Do I want them to tilt? Rib cage. And I'm drawing with line. This is how I would start out. And then if I wanted to, I could change this if I don't like that the way that it is. So I will change it, and I'll curve it a little bit more. I'll put the center there. And now what I would start to do is I would start to figure out where's the light coming from. So I start with the line like this. It's very linear. Hold on. Yes. And so I'm just sketching out of my imagination here for a moment. So I'll start with line. Let me resharpen this. Most of the weight of my arm is on my hand, which is on the piece of paper. Very linear. Okay, and now I'm going to start to do a little bit of tone. Okay, so now I would say I want form light, and so the light is the line that separates the light from the shadow. So I would do some shading over here, right? That's perspective slash connection. It's an ellipse. So you want to get the tilt of objects. So the tilt of the breast, the tilt of the shoulders, the tilt of the pelvis. I'm still trying to figure that out. And the ellipse thing is a way to do it looser. I mean, sure, you can do it with a straight line. That's more perspective based. But the ellipse just is also perspective, but in a looser way. And then I would say, oh, there's a rib, another rib, and I would just shade this up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. And look, this started as line and now it's tone. So do you see how much looser this drawing is now that I've been drawing for an hour and 40 minutes or an hour and a half because we were talking in the beginning for about an hour. And I'm not adhering so much to a photograph and I'm just trying to have like a little bit more fun with it. It's definitely much looser, and it's a little bit more free flow and not so exacting. Let me resharpen the pencil. This is the best of both worlds in my opinion. How we're doing some line, some tone. Absolutely. And so now I would do the ellipse line to go across the shoulders. Build up the thickness here. Go over your line multiple times. So this is the ultimate in what we've done here today when you combine the two. Does this make sense? My proportions are a little wonky on this, but it's just a fun sketch. Questions before we close this out? Okay, thank you, Phoenix. Appreciate that. And so you can have fun silhouetting some shapes and not adhering so much to like exact light and shade. Like it's just a quick sketch, right? And then we could put a little bit of shading on this side. Straight up and down, straight up and down, straight up and down. Thank you, Paul. All right. I just want to close off with a quick memory drawing for practice. and for fun. So, yes, this is how you want to draw your line. The reason why this drawing is looser than that one is because obviously I'm not outlining everything. I'm using a flowier line. It's more curvy and kind of gestural. I also have a couple more convexes in there, and yeah. All right. I could keep going with that, but we're going to put it to bed now. And I hope that you enjoyed this class today. Let's see, where am I? All right, that was fun. That was fun. So I'll show you these. And then the tonal one, I'll grab that. I like both. I like both. But ultimately, you need to figure out your flavor, right? And my flavor is combining the two. Absolutely combining the two, line and tone. And again, as we close out here in today's live stream, thank you, Phoenix, and thank you, Paul. Um, I want you to look at your body of work and figure out if you can find any trends. Like, what have you been doing in the past? Maybe it's time for a change for you. Again, when we're artists, we go through phases, and maybe you've been in a tonal phase for years, and maybe you want to switch and start to do more line work. All of my favorite artists, thank you, everybody. I appreciate the hearts. All of my favorite artists, we're going to be done here in like a minute. Like Alphonse Maria Mucha, if I look through a Mucha book, he has these tonal paintings that are insane, and then he does line work. So I really do think that you've got to do both for sure. Absolutely. All right. Awesome sauce. And I will look in Walker to the Riley approach. I'm curious about that. Um, absolutely. I've got my ways of drawing, but I think animals are food. Animals are cool. Food is definitely cool. Okay. I don't want to go too outside my lane, but thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week, okay? It's either going to be a Monday or a Tuesday. And for my members from drawingtutorialsonline.com, I will see you in a couple of hours on our Zoom class. Awesome. Talk soon. Thanks for watching, everybody.